we are going over Classic X-Men issue 56, which is, you can say a reprint because basically they re-released all of Claremont's run in Classic X-Men. This is Uncanny X-Men 152. And even though I have all of Claremont's run, which he started at 94 and went to, I think it was either 299 or 300. And I don't, for the life of me, remember reading this issue. So it was kind of nice to go back and get a refresher. The one thing that is disappointing about this particular issue to me, though, is in the earlier classic books, they would give you like a backup story, and we've gone over some of those, so I'll make sure I leave the cards up here. This one, however, does not. So that's very disappointing, but nonetheless, beautiful redone cover, because the original one, and unfortunately they didn't put, or at least to my knowledge, they didn't put the original cover on here, as where back in the day they would actually put the original. Oh, there it is. I just missed it. That's what the original cover looks like. This is Storm versus the White Queen, but not in the way that you think. What do I mean by that? Let's dive into this beautiful book. This is Chris Claremont writing, Bob McLeod doing the pencils, Josef Rubinstein doing the inks, Janice Chiang doing the lettering, Don Warfield doing the colors, Louise Jones was the editor, and then for this modern version, this is Suzanne Gaffney doing the reprint edition, and at this time, Tom DeFalco was the editor-in-chief. The original issue, I think, came out in like 83, 84, but the print date for the classic was February 1991. The Hellfire Gambit. And man, do I miss artwork like Bob McLeod. Because, I mean, look at the way this art team works together. This, you can see where a lot of these artists were inspired by Jack Kirby, because you got those rolling clouds and then the inks and the blues just showing this downpour of this storm. And it says, to all appearances, this is Storm, leader of the Uncanny X-Men, a team of mutant superheroes attacking a car on a lonely, winding country road in upstate New York. But appearances can be deceiving. This is not truly Storm, any more than the woman driving the car is her bitter enemy, Emma Frost, the White Queen of the infamous Hellfire Club. Now, spoilers, because I'm kind of have to set up what this means. So if you guys have never read any of these early books, pause this, try to get the original singles, because I know it's getting harder. If not, there's lots of compendiums with Claremont's work. So get those and come back. And you're back. Last issue, which I don't remember as well. I'm going to have to go back and reread 151. Emma and Storm, their minds are swapped, because Emma wants to infiltrate the X-Men, and she wants to do it through Storm. Now, I will say that mind swapping, body swapping, the identity thing, as we go into modern times, it's such a redone trope. But here, if you've read, I think it's X-Men 128, I think it's 128 or 125, where they first introduced Emma and Kitty. And remember, because I think we've gone over, I know we've gone over 128, so I'll put the card up here somewhere. Xavier and Emma were both looking to court Kitty to their respective schools. Xavier, because he wants to train mutants. Emma, because she wanted to make her, I think, a Hellion at this time and induct her into the Hellfire Club. So this is sort of like, you could think of it as this like a follow-up to all of this, and we'll get more into that. But I just kind of wanted to set the stage of the tension in this book. Inside the car, Kitty Pryde, the youngest, newest X-Man, slowly wakes. She has a terrific headache, legacy of the psionic bolt that knocked her unconscious. One look reveals her situation. She believes she's in the clutches of a ruthless, deadly foe. She acts accordingly by phasing through the body of the car in an instinctive bid for freedom. And now listen to this. She goes, "You, kitten, what are you doing?" Under normal circumstances, a sensible, logical response. Tragically, these circumstances are far from normal. So right there, I mean, I know Kitty's too scared to hear it, but what has Storm always called her at this point? The mother-daughter dynamic. She's always called her kitten. And because Storm tries to grab her, she phases. The car crashes. And then we see Storm, which is Emma. The gas tank exploded. I was too close. I've been caught in the fireball. I'm burning. What should I do? I've got to get away. A wind. I'll summon a wind to blow me to safety. Whoosh. Her need, hyped by pain, as much imagined as real. And ataviastic, I think that's how you pronounce that, terror. She reaches out with her mind and in a split second warps local weather patterns sufficiently to generate a jet stream, a blast of super fast air that scoops her up and whirls her helplessly away. I like this setup from the fact that what they're implying and what we see as the book progresses is even though they've swapped bodies, their powers didn't come with them. Because if you really want to get sort of science geeky, it's the X gene. It's what's the word I'm looking for? I guess you could say tangible because it's within the DNA. So even though their consciences are swapped, they are in the bodies of what the X gene hosts. So here, even though when they're in their proper bodies, they know the masters of their powers, Emma, telepathy and whatnot, Storm, of course, control of the weather. Here, neither of them, they know that it's there and that they can use it, but they don't know how deep they can go. It's like they're just starting over. And here, Emma doesn't know how. It's just through sheer desperation that she calls out in her mind and is able to get away from the blast. So that just adds another layer and intensity to this issue. Now, Kitty, being an X-Men, she sees Emma's body unconscious. But as Kitty turns to leave, Miss Frost, she must have been thrown out of the car too. She's lying on the edge of the fire. If I don't pull her away from there fast, she'll probably die. And then I like how she goes, so what? Probably she deserves it. She's a crook. She'd do anything to harm the X-Men. Why should I risk my life? And here, going back to traditional artwork, now I've said modern work, even though it's done digitally, there are times where it looks good. And I like how, particularly, I can't remember the artist's name, but when we went over Batman Beyond during the Batwoman saga, the first flight, I love that they made sure that it looked done on paper rather than on a Wacom, for example. But here, this is why I love these older comics, because they had to take time to work together. McLeod doing the penciling, Rubinstein doing the inks to get those shadows, and then it was Glennis Oliver, right? No, Dan Warfield. Making sure that he doesn't blotch up any of the inks to get those human eyes, to get those yellows, to show the fire, and to just show the duality of what she is thinking. Yeah, but I'm supposed to be a hero. I'm supposed to be better than her. But if I save her, she could use her same telepathic powers to take me prisoner again and maybe capture Aurora as well. And then trying to keep the matching color palette of the eyes, the hair. What should I do? The fire's getting worse. One way or the other. I've got to decide now. And I just love it. Now, back then, and, certain reviewers have said this, and I do feel it to a degree, when you're reading a series, it doesn't feel like it can kind of go where it wants. As we're back in the day, and Scott Liddell, even to this day, kind of has that habit of the subplots, like meanwhile, et cetera, so forth. And I love that, and I miss it. But it feels like a lot of writers, they just do the straight shot through the story. And the term that I've heard is called writing for the trade. So essentially writing for trade paperback. Or the ones where it feels more like you're reading a screenplay because they want to use comics as a stepping stone to Netflix, which there's nothing wrong with that. But in my humble opinion, and this is just mine, if you're going to do comics, commit to the bit and give us traditional styles. So even though we're kind of I say all that to say this, even though the art choices that they use where they're showing the reaction shots in the up close, it visually tells the story, but it doesn't feel like they're trying to say, okay, now POV shot short, close up. It doesn't feel like they're writing for a screenplay. It just feels natural within the story because you can see the desperation in Kitty's eyes. Should I save her or not? Because she knows what she should do, but with the history that we just talked about when Emma abducted her and the X-Men and almost killed them. It's just a nice little bit. And before we can kind of see what Kitty does, Aurora returns to Xavier's school, meeting up with Sebastian Shaw. She goes, the car crashed. I panicked and lost control of Aurora's powers, was blown miles away by a rogue wind. And when I returned, the forest was a blazing inferno. The car melted slag. I searched for any sign of Aurora and the brat without success. Not so, Emma. You use that persona exchange gun to switch your consciousness with Storm, so that you could then infiltrate the X-Men and destroy them within. The device functioned perfectly. If you wish, the process could be repeated with someone else. True, you're no longer a telepath, but you still possess beauty, youth, the power of a goddess. If you ask me, I think Aurora would make an exquisite White Queen. And just to see him kiss Rogue, Storm's body, should I say, it's just like, oh, the audacity, you cruel fiend for making Aurora's body do these things. And I point that out because it becomes important towards the end of the book. We have the quiet moment. Obviously, Kitty takes the right path. But she's like, how can I trust you? She's like, I don't believe you, fat chads. She goes, little one, in this life, nothing is sure. She asks, how can I be sure that you are who you are? And she's reluctant. She goes, all right, you made your point. I'll untie you. No need. I was slipping out of tighter bonds than this before you were born. And remember, for those of you that may not know Storm very well, she grew up on the streets of Cairo. She was a pickpocketer, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And so to see that, it kind of gives Kitty a moment. She goes, Aurora taught me that knot. She said it was foolproof for anyone but her. Yet Miss Frost untied it easily. Maybe she is telling the truth. I'll go along with her, but I won't trust her. As far as I'm concerned, she's guilty until proven innocent. And what makes this worse in this regard, because, when you see body swapping stories or where, the two clones wrestle for the gun and then like, which one do I shoot? Here, Kitty doesn't really get that choice because Emma Frost is a telepath. So she's wondering if maybe her perception's being altered. So it's a nice little different take. And as the story progresses, there's a particular, okay, here. Yeah, it's here. In their mansion, Kitty's fellow X-Men, their powers neutralized by inhibitor manacles, take stock of the situation. And they're just saying, Storm, why would you do this? And again, you see, just like when they first fought the Hellfire, we got all the goons, which I cannot remember what the term is for the Hellfire Club's minions. I know there's a name, but I can't remember. And then we see Leland, and then the shock of seeing Aurora in the White Queen's uniform. And Nightcrawler just straight up flabbergasted. Why? Why, Nightcrawler? The path of righteousness and virtue was becoming a frightful bore. I merely decided the time was ripe to learn how the other half lives. And you know that what, my friends? I like it. Wolverine tries to fight back. They take him down. Keep that in mind. And now, here's our the dirty dozen, but it's just only 3. It's, what's her name? Stevie Hunter, Kitty's dancing teacher, and would eventually become, I think, Magneto's second in command during the New Mutants era. But Storm is trying her best to use Emma's powers, and she goes, the gate's closed and locked. This is what Stevie's saying. She goes, there's no sign of anyone about. They're there. Take my word for it. I'm picking up thought patterns. A squad of mercenaries. Keep going, Stevie. They're watching us. And then Kitty just sticks her head out the window. Now, I've always loved the mother-daughter dynamic between Storm and Kitty. Because remember, when we went over Kitty Pryde and Wolverine miniseries, it shows that her home life got really shooken up when her parents divorced, and then her father was making deals with the Yakuza to try to keep his bank afloat. And so she's having a hard time trying to find family. And that's why you see she basically was raised by both Storm and Wolverine. And then Stevie came into her life, and so she sees her also as a surrogate mother. Keep that in mind here. So Kitty phases her head out. Storm grabs her. She goes, are you insane, child? Phasing through the door like that? Why not simply announce your presence at the top of your lungs or shoot off flares? We're outnumbered and outgunned, Kitty. Our only hope is to take them completely by surprise. I'm sorry, I didn't think. No, you didn't. You're an X-Man, young lady. If you want to survive, you'd better start acting like one. Remember, Storm is leader of the X-Men at this point. And Kitty just gets this thoughtful look and she goes, phew, that's a Storm riff if I ever heard one. No one can be that good of an actress. I'm beginning to believe her. Now, the particular here, they tell Stevie to hang back. She gives her a hug. Now, look at, I'm going to say Storm because it's who this is, but look at the face, this kind of like hurtful look. Kitty's feelings are as strong for Stevie as for me. Stevie's an extraordinary person. I'm proud to call her my friend. Yet, I'm still jealous of that bond between them. And so it shows how protective Storm is of Kitten. And it's just a nice, heartwarming moment. Now, again, without giving too much away, where is it that I want to start getting into? Kitty phases in and she's able to release the manacles. And here we get X-Men Hellfire Club fight part 2. And it is spectacular. Remember, I think it was the end of 125 or 126 when Wolverine gets shot into the sewer and he pops out his claws and we have the grates shadowing his face and he goes, you took your best shot, bub. Now it's my turn. And he rips through the Hellfire Club. Watch this. Leave him to me, Elf. Wolverine, it can't be. You're alive. By the force of Wolverine's attack, throws the X-Men momentarily off balance, which is all the opening his foe needs. That situation can easily be remedied. Wanna bet, Cole? Knows him by name. Go ahead, crazy man. Gut me. You'll be doing me a mercy. All me and my partners lived for was seeing you dead, Wolverine. If we can't have that, it's better to die ourselves. Why? Because I cut you months ago? At the time, you were trying to kill me, remember? Yeah, and because of what you did, they made us freaks. Part human, but mostly machine. Is that all right? Is that all? Man, you're pathetic. So what if you're bionic? There are worse fates. Remember Donald Pierce building up towards the Reavers. And I love how Scott and Nightcrawler essentially don't stop him. They want to see what Logan's going to do. He drops him. Now look at kind of the whole tonal shift of Wolverine from the first time he fought the Hellfire Club during the Dark Phoenix saga to now. You're alive, Cole, a thinking, breathing, feeling human being. Or at least you're supposed to be. Artificial parts, mechanical limbs, can't take that essential humanity away, just as flesh and blood can't give it to you. I could grant your wish, bub, but I won't. You aren't worth the effort. Great stuff, man. I just love how they've shown how Wolverine has grown. Now, without giving too much away, the book crescendos with Emma and the White Queen and almost a fight to the death. Their minds swap. Once, oh majesty of evil, that may have been so, but no longer. Now, even though Storm is essentially naked by the end of the book, I look at it as a sign of rebirth, just kind of like how they use water in film. You made me your slave. You're unwitting puppet. You use me, but from this instance, I am free. And she grabs Emma by the throat. Hear me, Emma Frost. As a child, I swore never again to kill, but tonight I'll break that vow. You have committed a heinous, unforgivable crime in stealing my body. You perverted a trust as old as the earth itself. Remember me pointing out the kiss with Sebastian Shaw? You will pay for that in blood. And now remember, Storm always seems to be the most level of the group. Remember, she granted Calypso mercy, and she's always telling Wolverine to reel it in. But now, he's unleashing, and it's Wolverine. Roar no! Stand aside, Wolverine, and watch you destroy yourself, not flamin' likely. Anyone can kill, Princess. It's easy. I know. What takes courage and strength, what separates the humans from the animals, is not killing. Some people are warriors, darling, born to kill. That's me. And some exist to show us there's a better way. That's you. There's so much beauty in you, Aurora. It'd be a shame to spoil it for the likes of her. Oh, now that's how you write a comic book. Now, as the book ends, there's sort of like a tense, you can call it truce, between X-Men and Hellfire, because since they're both mutants, they kind of have to go their separate ways to go scheme again. So it's like this mutual destruction type situation. But guys, if you want some great actual X-Men books, highly recommend this issue. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or whatever's like to get your action figures and comics, and either pick up the classic X-Men edition or the original if you can get your hands on it. And if you've enjoyed this review, really would appreciate it if you took a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little mutant bell next subscribe, that way as I get to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and I love talking with you and hearing your thoughts and feedback down below or on the socials, which I'll make sure the links down in the description. Speaking of, if you enjoy what I do and you'd like to support the channel, I have also left a PayPal tip jar link in the description as well. And if not, I still appreciate you stopping by and checking out this video. Either way, hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.